morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is, wherever you might be. We're back after a month. How are you, Christos? I did too. I forgot how to do it too, apparently, because I can't. Because I don't think anybody can hear you just yet. I know. Yeah. Because I don't see your volume bars bebopping on the thing here. Running from the bear. Oh, that's right. You were going to tell us the story. Well, I have to figure out why I can't hear you now. Yeah. So I guess that means I have to talk for a minute while you're while I'm figuring out why I can't hear you. I feel like this happened. I feel like this happened the last time we tried. We couldn't hear. We couldn't. Yeah, we couldn't hear you for a while last time. It was kind of strange. I don't know why. I don't know why it's like that. You know what I could do? Let me try one thing. I'll try one thing. I don't particularly like it, but I'm going to try anyway. Hold, please. Let's see here. I wonder. I know you. I know you do have a new mic. That's what's so disappointing. You wanna drop and rejoin? Okay. Well, anyway, good morning, everybody. We're gonna see if we can get Christos's voice back. I don't know why we don't have his voice, but it wouldn't be this show if things worked 100% of the time, all the time. So, I don't know why. I don't know why I can't seem to join, but we'll get it sorted out. So let's see. Let's see if I can get him this time. No, tell you what, I'm just gonna call you on Skype. How about that? Well, I think we have found the limitations of Skype. Okay, hang on a sec. Do we still not have your voice? I guess we still don't have your voice. You gotta be kidding me. What's going on? No, I mean everything looks okay. I just don't get any audio for you from Skype. It must be. I'm gonna try a couple things, I guess, and we'll see if we can't get you sorted. I know, that's the worst part. I guess let's see here. Let's see.
Should we troubleshoot all together?
Wonder. How about now?
How about now? I don't know. Can you guys hear me?
I'm going to add one more thing here.
One more thing.
I think.
Now, yes. Oh, they can hear me.
Oh, good. Okay, good.
Oh, what? Oh. What did you do?
Blew up the mixer and changed the mix in for you.
There you go. I'm back. Okay. I'm finally here.
So hey, that only took way longer than it was supposed to be.
It only took 4 minutes. It's not too bad. We've done 10 minutes of troubleshooting before.
Anyway, so
live streaming, my friend. That's it.
So tell me, I have to hear this bear story. I haven't heard this yet.
Yeah, mute me. Yeah, so I've started running this week. So yesterday I went for a 30-minute run. Yeah. And on my way back, so I'm not running in any wooded areas. It's just domestic. Hey, Grant TNT, how are you? So I'm running on the main road that takes you to a park. And there's like woods on each side, but there are houses as well. So it's not deserted. And on my way back, I saw a few cars stopping by at the side of the road, and they were creating this kind of a traffic jam when there shouldn't be one. I was like, what the hell is this guys doing over there? And obviously I had my headphones and I was running. And by the time I got there, everybody had left the area, but everybody was looking towards one direction. So as I approached that same part of the road, I turned my head to the right as I'm running. And 10 yards away from me is a brown bear the size of a giant dog just sitting there.
And a giant dog?
Yeah, like it wasn't a giant bear, so it was like a grizzly bear or whatever. So it was a small ace bear, I would say. Obviously, I haven't seen a bear in the wild, so I don't know if it's a normal size or not.
Okay.
So I see the bear. It takes a couple of seconds to register. At that point, I get a jolt of adrenaline, and I just bolt.
Wait, so you're running. You don't have a car. You don't have anything.
No, I was running, and I was only 10 yards away from it, and I didn't realize. And then suddenly, as I started running faster, I had to turn my head around to make sure that it wasn't following me or running after me because I was depleted of energy because it was towards the end of my run. So I was not sure how far I can run or if I can outrun the bear. So that was fun.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you outran the bear. Did it chase you?
It did not move. It was just sitting there looking around. So I have no idea whether it was a baby bear waiting for its mom or whether it's just a bear being curious and coming close to the road. But man, after realizing what happened, I was like, I need to change routes. It was like, you're not running there ever again. But it's a road that we've been there 1,000 times. We take the kids walking down the path. So yeah, that makes your heart definitely run. I mean, as I said, the adrenaline just kicked in as soon as it registered. Then my brain went, run, just look back in case it's following you.
That's terrifying. Well, I'm glad you made it out alive.
Yeah, man, I'm alive, but I'm good. I'm here to tell the story.
Yeah, I feel like that would have been really awful.
Can you imagine? Your colleague has been mauled by a bear. Sorry, he won't be able to join the stream today.
It feels like something you'd hear on like. It feels like something you'd hear on like what was that old game we used to play, Oregon Trail?
Oh yes.
Your colleague has been mauled by a bear. Yeah.
And.
Well, I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad you made it.
I'm okay. It's Friday. You're off next week, aren't you? You're going to this.
Not next week. The week after.
Oh, it's the week after, so we have one more week together. Nice. Because we're off at the same time then.
Because you're going to be gone quite a bit, I understand, right?
Yes, 3 weeks.
Nice. That's awesome.
It is. I have to come back for a couple of things that I have to record for on .NET, and then we have a couple of events that we're speaking together. If you remember.
I don't, but I'm sure I remember the day that we have to do it, and I look at my calendar and say, "Oh my God, are we supposed to do that today?" Because that seems to be what normally happens.
What are we demoing? So we have a couple of events in August, and then I have a bootcamp for PMs, for Azure PMs. I registered, and then it coincided. So I think a couple of days are in there, but it's fine.
Yeah, nice. That'll be fun. Are you going anywhere, or are you just staying home?
No, man. Nowhere to go.
Yeah.
I mean, with COVID cases going up, yesterday was 62,000 cases?
Yeah. It's a little nerve-wracking.
It's nerve-wracking. And we were planning on a road trip, but now we're probably going to do day trips around the Washington area, maybe go down to Oregon for a few things. But
we went to Michigan because, we did a couple shows while I was up there. We went up there. I was on a plane for the first time in 18 months, and we got there, and my youngest one got sick, and then the rest of us got sick, and I was like, I'm not going to fly home. This is stupid. I guess I'm going to have to drive home. So we drove, and I had this incredibly ridiculous car. It was we rented a car when we got there.
They had a giant car, right?
Yeah, I got there, and the guy was like, well, all they had was a Jeep Wrangler and a Toyota Camry, and I was like, I got to get 3 car seats and something. Do you have anything a little bigger? And he was like, well, why don't you take one of those? And it was a Nissan Armada, which, if you're not familiar, is absolutely enormous. I could barely fit it in our garage when we got home.
It's a fitting name. Armada.
It was huge. It was
Yeah.
I've never driven I've never driven anything that big. You know, we have a minivan and a station wagon, so like I'm not used to it. And it drives like a truck. And but we drove it home. We got 18 miles to the gallon driving it home from Michigan.
18 miles to the gallon. That's insane.
It's awful. I was like, oh my god. I'd go to
So
the
wait a minute. Does it have low gears and high gears? And does it have like an 18 gear gearbox or something?
No, I mean, so far as I can tell, it was only like a 6-speed automatic.
A 6-speed automatic with that explains why you had you actually use your garage. Insurance in the UK is more expensive if you declare your park in the garage. What? It's more expensive if you park in your own garage? Why?
Right.
Why?
Really?
That's the other way around. I remember paying more because I had to park in the public road.
Wait a minute. You pay more to park in your garage, not like a public garage. You pay more to park in your garage, like under or attached somehow to like a house or townhome or whatever.
Well, in his defense, the garages in the UK are freaking tiny. You can barely fit a car and a human.
That's true.
So I suspect that you might pay more because there are more accidents since you try to get into or out of your car in the tiny garage.
I mean, no, okay, I get it. And that's what Bolt said too. Is you're much more likely to scratch it. I mean, in some ways, I feel like our garage for our cars is fairly small. But we never had a garage before I bought this place, and so I never really knew like. I didn't know how to like size a garage appropriately, I guess. And so because of that, it was kind of like, well, you know, but yeah, like where I live, I don't think it'd probably be a big difference.
You're fairly outside in the outskirts, right?
Yeah, because we're in the suburbs. We live on a cul-de-sac. Very, very
the
boring.
suburban life, my friend. That's it.
Very, very boring, very uneventful. We do have coyotes. I mean, I don't get chased by bears, luckily, but we do have coyotes.
And people shooting guns.
And people shoot lots of guns around here, unfortunately, which, you know, I mean, whatever your thing is, I don't mind if people have guns. I mean, I live in the South, so if I did mind, I'd be in trouble. I don't really like it when people shoot guns at like 10:30 at night, for example, like over and over and over again after they've been doing it literally all day, and it's super loud and it keeps my kids up. I'm just kind of like, I mean, I guess like congrats on knowing your rights or whatever, but like, do you have to express them right now when everybody's trying to go to bed? I don't know. I mean, whatever. None of my business, but you know. So, anyway.
But you'll be moving to Seattle soon, so we'll be okay. We'll be neighbors, right?
Somehow I feel like that's going to be. I mean, I don't know. We've thought about moving because, you know, like the kids getting older and stuff, and you know, so we thought about like, should we move somewhere else? But I don't know if Seattle will be the place. I want space and land. I want like a huge, plot of land. You know, we can go out and do.
You're not gonna find this in Seattle. The new houses that are building are one on top of each other. Literally, you can open your window and that's the next house. It's that close, and they have no garden. So I would say Seattle is not there. Washington's probably not.
You got any news for us today, Christos?
I do have news. Let's talk some technology news. Are you gonna roll the credits?
Good idea. So what's been going on? I mean,
if I share my screen, right?
It's been so long. Like, what are we? How are we? It's been so long since we. Apparently, or presumably, a lot of news has come and gone since then. Yeah.
Well, yes, and it's so fleeting that I only managed to retain the last week's worth of news or whatever. If you have any news for us, let us know. You know, from a developer perspective, I think there are 3 bits that are interesting. One of them is that Visual Studio 2022 has just released, Preview 2, sorry. So if you are testing the new bits, I would say go and download it because it's coming with some exciting new features. So I will let you go and play around with that. It's available download today. There's a private preview for Visual Studio for Mac 2022. if you are into that, let me see. There's a blog about it.
Now I've heard people on Twitter say that 2022 is significantly faster, I think that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, that was my biggest beef with it, right?
It's much faster, and they made it a lot more lightweight in terms of what loads they come with it, and then they also made it 64-bit. So quite a few things there to make the improvement better. Cool. I haven't had a chance to play with Visual Studio 2022 for Mac. If anyone is developing on a Mac, let us know, because that's also in a private preview, so you can sign up early for this. And then the biggest one for us is that MSAL for React is finally here. We GA'd this baby on the 14th of July. Yes. So it comes.
Have to go update some old code.
Yes, we could do that. It comes with all the latest and greatest, all the bells and whistles, and it's optimized for React rather than having to create your own wrappers and get MSAL browser to work in there. I haven't had the chance to play with it, but we will. Lately, I've been playing with Next.js. Nice. I have 3 blog posts coming. We might do a stream on that, because Next.js, I don't know if you know about it. It's a framework that is on top of React, and it makes working with React much easier. It's a lightweight framework, and I was curious to see whether I can get authentication working on that. So I used one of the open source libraries, wired it up to Azure AD, and it's working beautifully. And then I did some Azure SDK stuff, which was nice. And then I wanted to deploy that on Azure. And apparently there's no documentation or any instructions on how to deploy a Next.js web app onto Azure Web Apps. So there's a big difference, because Next.js can compile to a static website, which most people will do. But there are certain components that you might want to do server-side, which is the beauty of Next.js. You can run both server-side and client-side. So depending on how you compile the artifacts and what components you're using, it can run server-side. So I wanted to run server-side, therefore I wanted Azure Web Apps, not Azure Static Web Apps or storage. I couldn't find anything for that. So I had to reverse engineer that baby. But now we have a working solution and a GitHub action to do all that for you. So maybe we can stream about it.
I wonder is server-rendered React faster than browser-rendered React, I wonder?
Probably not, especially if you're working with data. I would say the fact that I had to pull data from Azure Resource, I think I was using storage for this one. The fact that it doesn't pull the data up front. Oh, I see what you're saying. So if you pre-compile and you have all the data there and serve it, will it take longer to load rather than loading the site and then pulling the data in real time?
I guess the thing I'm wondering is, like, if it's server rendered, is it just spitting out HTML? And the HTML is what's being shown? Or is it still sending the React to be executed by your browser? I guess that's what I'm wondering. Because
I think it's the latter is the first one. I guess something like Angular SSR. Yes, something similar to that. Grant.
Yeah, that's what I wonder. Because the DHH and the Basecamp guys, which I know they decided to see how many times can we shoot ourselves in the foot, and then they doubled down on it. But I remember when they were talking about that Hey email service that they mentioned a lot about how they're going to run what essentially is like really lean client-side JavaScript. And essentially the server just sends HTML, and the HTML is rendered obviously, but there's very little JavaScript. Most of it happens server-side. I used it for a while. I wouldn't say it was particularly faster. The lack of any sort of API for Hey was a real pain. So,
did you move away from it?
I still have it. I don't really use it. So
mostly it's not your primary email then.
No, mostly out of laziness of not going out there and deleting it. But I don't know.
Okay.
But I wonder about that. Like server-side rendered JavaScript stuff. Like it obviously you still are going to have some kind of client. You still have some client code that has to run. I just wonder if it's as heavy as a full-blown React app in the browser compared.
No, it's optimized for serving stuff from the server. We can look into that a bit more in depth, but absolutely.
Cool.
I mean, it was a fun framework to play with, and I used a library called NextAuth, which screwed up the naming. So they had an extension. They have extension for all IDPs, so you can use any OpenID Connect provider, which is nice.
Nice.
It's like Passport.js, right? So you have an Azure Active Directory Passport.js component. So they had one which they named B2C. It was like, okay, interesting. But they made a mistake and they named it wrong. So I reached out to them and they fixed it.
Right, so it's not. So it's for B2C or it's not for B2C?
Well, they named it for B2C, but it was not B2C. Based on the documentation, I was like, this is not B2C. So I raised an issue with them and said, you guys need to change the name. And then they said, well, the next version, which is just about to drop, actually has both B2C and Azure AD. We fixed the naming and we added additional functionality.
Nice.
So if you are using NextAuth, which we will be using for the stream, then you can see how they work side by side, which is great.
Nice.
But with MSAL React, I wonder if we can actually take MSAL React, add it to our Next.js project, and make it work there rather than actually using NextAuth for the authentication, considering that they're both running on React. And because you can bring React components, right?
That's the thing I wonder is, because MSAL React is essentially a wrapper around MSAL browser.
Yes.
And if you run MSAL browser server side, it's not going to have the same flows that you would have in, say, a regular MSAL for Node.
Yes.
That's why I wonder how that would. But I don't know enough about Next and how it renders when it does server side rendering. How much it? I mean, I imagine if it's browser rendering, it'd totally be fine, right? Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of how does the server side rendering work with that.
So I had to use the server side rendering because that's what NextAuth was expecting. But with MSAL browser, we may be able to turn it into a static website and do client side rendering, and therefore not have a need for server side deployment or running on web apps. Cool. That would be cool. So that's something that I need to test in the next few days and see if I can make it work. But that's nice. What we've been working on. And finally, there's more external identity user flows for Azure Active Directory. So if you are into external identities, we've added some additional functionality here. The blog post came out 2 days ago or 3 days ago. Is it the 23rd? It is the 23rd. Oh man, the new Ted Lasso is out.
Didn't the Olympics start today?
The Olympics started today, yes.
Yeah,
yes,
that'll be cool. I always like the Olympics.
You always like the Olympics? They started from Greece.
So there you go. I mean, how could you not?
How could you not like that? It's your mom's birthday. Nice, Bold. Happy birthday to your mom, man.
Very nice. Happy birthday to your mom.
Why is she not on the stream?
Yeah, we need to have her here. I saw a thread yesterday. Somebody said, of all the Olympic sports, if they were to go back to doing them naked like they did in the ancient times,
not naked, but light clothing. Okay.
Which sports would be the most awkward to watch?
Beach volley.
Oh my God, the sand everywhere. Oh my God, it'd be awful. Just thinking about it makes me just uncomfortable.
Did you not see what happened with what? It was the Icelandic team or the Norwegian
team, I think. Yeah, I couldn't believe that. That was crazy.
It's insane. Javelin. Ooh. Javelin with light clothing.
Judo would be bad. Yeah.
Judo would be bad. Was not arm wrestling. Wrestling would be weird.
Wrestling would be weird.
And you know what? Wrestling was probably one of the original sports that we had for in the Olympics, right?
Hurdles would probably be the worst. Yeah.
Too much to see, right?
I just feel like you'd have to accommodate so many extra things. It would just be awful.
What's the one that you jump over the pole? Not javelin. What's it called? Not the long pole, but the one that you have to horizontally go over backwards.
Like the long jump.
Is that the long jump?
Oh no! Oh, limbo. Is limbo an Olympic sport?
Is it? I don't think so. Pole vault. So. Yes. Not the pole vault. It's the high jump. Yes.
Oh my God.
Loka Samasta Sukino Bavantu. Man, that's a mouthful. But
what on earth did you just say? Jump.
the name of the person that told us. It's the high jump. You know when you run in a slightly curved way and then you use a specific form to jump over and backwards?
Yeah.
Can you imagine that with light clothing?
Yeah, that'd be pretty rough.
I'll be more worried about winter.
I thought it was funny. Yeah, the Winter Olympics I think would be worse. You imagine like what's the one where they lay back on the sled like skeleton or luge or whatever? Oh, that'd be awful.
God.
Yeah. I don't think I would I don't think I'd be a big fan of that one, so. Anyway, so part of what brought us back out today, I was out cleaning up a few resources, and I found I had a bazillion Azure AD tenants that I'm a member of, B2C tenants mostly that I need to get rid of. And hang on a sec. Yeah,
we have a guest.
I have a guest. I have a guest at my door. I don't know where the charger is, kiddo.
How could you not know? You have everything.
Oh, no, wait. He needs a charger, which is in my office. Hang on. Excellent. Here you go, kiddo. What is it here? Here you go, please. All right. Okay. Yeah, there was, turns out the charger he's looking for wasn't here, so good on him. Anyway, so the thing is, when you go to delete a tenant, you have to do like 8 million different things to actually get rid of it, and that's a pain, especially when you've got like 20 that you need to deal with, so...
And some of them won't let you delete it because you're the primary owner or something like that. Mm-hmm. And if it's in use, you can. Like I tried to delete a couple of them, and they were like, "Nope, you can't." Yeah. So I'm stuck with them.
So I was going to show you this video. So this is when I got home on Sunday. So that's my car, which is a fairly large, long station wagon, right? And you see our garage is fairly small. There's not a whole lot of room. And then here comes this like absolutely enormous, ridiculously large, like I couldn't even turn in to get into the garage. I had to like 17-point turn this thing. I mean, look at it. The top of the hood is like as high as my normal car.
Yes.
And I was terrified I was going to take the whole thing out.
Why did you put it diagonally? That's a good question.
Because I couldn't get it in otherwise. I didn't have enough room. I mean, look at it.
Oh my God.
It's catastrophically large. It's like, why on earth? Why would anybody want that? So,
did you manage to close your garage door?
Somehow I did. I had to pull in more, but I finally got it. I finally managed to get there. So,
wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was awful.
Right. So, we're building something today. Is this going to be a console app?
Yeah, for now, because I just wanted something I could just like run really quickly. Like I didn't really want something I was going to have to.
Yes, and then we're going to take this bad boy and put it into an ACI, right?
Sure, why not?
Nice.
We could make it part of. We could make it part of. We could make it part of Thrasman. Deleting old tenants, or better yet, when you find a tenant in a resource group that's about to be deleted, delete the tenant, because deleting the resource group doesn't actually delete the Azure AD B2C tenant that you have to link to that resource group.
It's outside of the resource group management, right?
Yeah. So even when you delete it, it's still there, which is kind of annoying.
That's a good question. Caparino is asking: does Microsoft have an online diagram builder for Azure architecting? Should I say PowerPoint?
PowerPoint is online, right? No, I mean I haven't seen one. There is the whole
Visio. You can use Visio.
No, there's something the resource graph or not resource graph. You can ArmViz. There's ArmViz, which is more for visualizing ARM templates. You can visualize them in the portal now too, but in terms of designing the architectures, no, not really. I mean, I use PowerPoint with icon packs, sadly.
Yes.
And I have used what was that one? There was one called Cloud Doc Kit. I used that one to generate architecture from deployments.
There's a fantastic one for Visual Studio Code. Can't remember what it's named, but we can find that out. But most of these tools that we have are reverse engineering what you already have, like visualizing what you have instead of designing upfront. So for upfront design, I think there are third-party tools that also have Azure integration, and you can use the Azure stencils to design your diagram. But I've been using PowerPoint forever and Visio because they also have Azure integrations there, and it works okay. It all comes down to, but you said online, so I hope that helps. Big Rick. No, is it Caparino?
Yeah.
It's Caparino. Caparino.
I do like, I mean, I've tried Figma. Figma seems to work fairly well, but it's not, I think it's more for building UIs.
Yes.
There was one I did use, and now I can't remember the name of it because it changed names. In fact, I remember I bought it, and now I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, you bought it?
Online diagram.
Spending money.
It was like something. It was something.io. What is that called? Now I can't remember. My buddy was telling me about it, and it was Lucid. Was it Lucid?
Oh, that's ages ago, man.
I mean, but it still works.
It does.
Or no, you know what? Maybe it wasn't Lucid. See, now I don't remember. Anyway.
Draw.io?
Was it that one? The architecture diagrams I had to make for the diagrams I had to make for some of the B2C stuff. No, it wasn't this. I've used this before, but I don't think it was this. Maybe it was whatever the one was I was just on. Maybe it was Lucid. I don't remember. It doesn't really matter. But I guess I can go see who I've paid for it. Let's see. Lucid. If I paid Lucid Chart for something.
Check his credit card statements. Visio requires Office.
I did.
It has required Office, yes.
I did. You sent a payment to Lucid Software. So, yes, it was Lucid Chart. I haven't used it in a while, obviously.
So maybe there's any Azure icon. There is, Visio is an Office, and there is an extension for Visio, right? We have Visio stencils for Azure resources, correct, JP? Visio.
In fact, it's even better now. Now we have. It used to be like there were stencil packs that came. Now I think that we basically just ship a bunch of SVGs because I just downloaded.
Okay.
Yeah, I just downloaded that a couple days ago. In fact.
Yeah, there is this pack that you download for everything. Adding, where is it?
Yeah.
There's Azure a blog post.
In fact, there's you can get them from the Architecture Center. And I guess they've been updating them a lot more recently. So I haven't seen stencils. I haven't seen new Visio explicit stencils, but I have seen. I did just download some of these the other day, and they've got these. They've got infrastructure ones, data ones. They've got like industry ones. They've got on-prem ones for like older like server objects, like more generic server objects, that sort of thing. So, yeah, and it's pretty good stuff. So. Apparently, I can't remember my.
Maybe we should start using that for our ARM templates when we create them. Maybe we should start using some of these tools, add them to our design when we create resources.
It's true.
We'll be a lot more tight now. One of the reasons why we haven't been streaming a lot is not only that we are on holiday mode, but it's also because we want to rethink how we're going to approach next year's streaming. So there are quite a few things coming on our end, but we wanted to be a lot more comprehensive when it comes to showing you stuff, not just dropping a solution and walking away, but showing you end-to-end how things are happening. So let us know what you want to see from us as well. Please drop your ideas and what kind of content you expect us to build for you, so we can be more successful and we can learn together.
Yeah.
What are you doing there? Oh, are you trying to sign into Lucid?
I guess apparently I must not have set a
password manager.
I must not have set it. It must not have ended up in my password manager. But anyway. So if you try to delete an Azure AD, if you want to delete an Azure AD directory,
Yes.
It requires a bunch of extra stuff, right?
Some extra API calls that are not visible, or is it all available through Graph?
Well, I don't know yet.
Oh, we don't know yet. Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Most of them, I think, should be. But so when you come to... So first, there's been a bit of a change to the tenant switcher. So if you come to like the directory and subscriptions, like you can still come to it this way, but there's also a new sort of experience, I guess, if you want to call it that, for switching tenants, which personally I'm not a huge fan of. So currently I'm in one of the directories that I need to delete, which is downhill from here.onmicrosoft.com. But if you were not, I don't remember why I created this, but it's all downhill from here. Your subscription or your directory list, and you have to switch to the B2C directory context, right? Like that's the key, is you don't want to accidentally delete the wrong one. So we got our directory here. I'm already in the one that I want to be in, but you'll notice there are a bunch of other ones here that I need to get rid of, like Umbrella and You're Too Slow and my test directory. All this is just junk, fresh to death. I don't even remember what I used that one for, but
you got a million of these. I have no idea.
And that's the thing. I need to get rid of them. Somebody might want the names. So the thing is, if you come to B2C and we go to B2C, there's actually no way that I could find that you can delete it directly from the B2C blades themselves. Yeah. So instead, we have to go to Azure Active Directory itself. So in the portal, you've got different types of services, and you'll have two discrete services, one called B2C, which lets you manage the B2C stuff, and then one called Azure AD. And the Azure AD one is the thing that actually manages the underlying B2C directory, or the underlying directory that B2C stuff is bolted on top of, right? So we have to go to the underlying Azure AD. And if we try to delete this, you go to, I think you go to properties to delete it. I don't remember now. I've kind of forgotten how to delete it.
I think it's in the properties, yes.
Well, I don't see it there anymore. I literally just deleted one like 5 minutes ago, so I don't know why.
Could it be that it's hidden away if there are requirements?
Maybe it's under managed tenants. That's right. So this is the new tenant. This is the new tenant management stuff, right? So from your overview of Azure AD, we're going to manage tenants, and these are the tenants that I need to. There's a good number of these that I need to get out of, right?
Yep.
Now you can leave them from here. So if it's not one that you own, but one that you want to leave because you aren't working with that organization anymore or something similar, you can click one of these and leave, which is great. But in our case, let me filter to B2C tenants, or I guess I'll sort to B2C tenant type. B2C. Okay, so we got our B2C ones. Now, of these, I need to leave probably this one, and I don't even know whose this is, so I may not be an owner.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I'm going to delete it anyway. Test org, okay, and umbrella. All of these need to go.
Okay.
Now, sadly, as soon as you check more than one thing with the checkboxes, all of the things go away. I don't fully understand. Whatever. But I do want to delete test org. Okay.
Okay.
And we're already in that tenant, so we're cool. So let's go to delete, and you notice you get signed to. It's gonna bebop you around the portal to get you into the right context, but you end up at delete tenant, and it gives you a list of stuff that you have to do in order to delete that tenant. Which in some ways it's good, because like if you don't want to accidentally delete like like something important, but you have to explicitly delete all of the users, all the app registrations, all the enterprise apps, which are like gallery or SaaS things.
Yes.
In the case of B2C, your policy keys, your user flows, your identity providers, all that stuff's got to go. And it's annoying to come in here and say, okay, I got to delete all my app registrations. And then you come here and you're like, okay, I'm going to click this one, and then I got to come up here and hit delete, and then I have to check this box and hit delete. I mean, that's just super annoying. It takes forever, right? So in true form, we're going to spend like 2 hours automating something that we could probably delete. We could probably delete all these in 30 minutes of focused just clicking, but
we are taking hit for you.
I got myself into this situation,
yes,
and I feel like I need to get myself out of it, because I also feel like I'm going to be back in this situation again relatively soon, where you just create tenants and you don't, because Azure resources are easy to delete. You click delete and they go.
Yep.
Others are not, right?
So, something to be said about that, but we're not here to fix that problem. It could be fixed in the future, but for now, we're working with the constraints that we have. Since they're not resource group bound, we have to find a way to delete them programmatically. Okay. So let's do this. Yes.
So the first thing we need is, because we're not signing in through B2C, but rather we're signing into the underlying Azure AD, we can actually use Graph, and we can use MSAL the way we would expect to, just like it was an enterprise or line of business style app. We can treat it the same way. So the first thing I need to do is register an app. Of course, right?
So you're registering an app in the underlying Azure Active Directory that manages which.
So you could do that. That's one thing you could do. But since we're going to delete that, I don't know how it would work with deleting your own service principal. Like, can you delete yourself? I don't know.
You might not.
So instead, what I'm going to do is create a multi-tenant app in my directory that I actually use for regular stuff. So we're going to call this Tenant Deleter. We're going to make it a multi-tenant
app. No
PowerShell
or CLI. That's right. Grand TFT. Grand TNT. Yeah.
I mean, there's Graph PowerShell and there's Graph CLI. So we could write a PowerShell script to do the same thing. Bolt's sending us a link. I hope he's not sending me a link to a PowerShell script that does exact. Oh no! Okay,
no, he's sending us a link to the stencils for the Azure Cloud and AI symbol set, but he's getting a 404. Interesting.
Oh, interesting. He gets a 404 on that link.
I get a 404 as well.
Really? I don't. That's what's interesting. Oh, maybe it's on the click here to download manually. Well, look, if you look at what it downloads, it actually just downloads something called new location for Azure icons.txt. Not suspicious at all.
Somebody put a placeholder over there, but forgot to actually update the ak.ms link, I think.
So this is the file that it actually downloads. Download.microsoft.com, blah, 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 blah. New location for Azure icons.txt. So, and presumably that's a 404, you say, Bolt? So that's a 404. I wonder if it's because there are two spaces here. Nope. Well, oh, no. Yep. Anyway, I think the only thing in the text doc is this. Go to docs, blah, 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 Azure icons, and follow the instructions there.
Yep.
So, yeah. I'm amazed at how frequently this Bing wallpaper app gets pushed on me.
Do you not have it?
No. I kind of don't want it. And it's up here.
It's lovely, man. I love it.
It's here. Well, I found a Windows app. Like somebody wrote like a Windows Store app. And it goes out and it downloads the latest.
It is actually a Windows. It's officially now a Windows Store app. So it's not an add-on. It's built into Windows. It's an official UWP app.
This is called Dynamic Theme, and I personally think it's really, really good.
I don't know what you're talking about. There's an official app for it.
I know, but I don't want an official app running in the background all the time. I want a scheduled task that fires up, updates my wallpaper, and moves on. I don't need the Bing desktop app saying, "Hey, you should try searching with Bing too."
No, you can shut down everything else.
I don't need all that.
Fine.
Anyway, that's a distraction. Okay, so we got all these things that we have to do in order to delete our organization.
Yes.
And some of these things I'm going to cover today because they are things that I absolutely need today. Some of these other ones, like, especially if you're trying to delete like a proper Azure AD that you're using at work or something similar, like they're going to have subscriptions and Azure subscriptions and Office and Intune and EMS and all those extra things are all going to be attached to it. You probably don't want to use a tool to delete those.
You have to manually go through that to make sure that you're doing it right, you mean?
I mean, I guess for me, like, me deleting my B2C test tenants, it's just B2C. But like deleting an Azure AD directory itself, I kind of worry, like what's attached to that I don't know about. And if you've got test ones, I mean, you could certainly make this tool work for it. At least for today, I'm not going to worry about trying to resolve things like, oh, you've got subscriptions assigned to users and you've got subscriptions assigned to these tenants and things like that. I'm probably not going to try to sweat that today. But all the things for B2C, definitely. And I think, in fact, I don't know which of these are going to be API, which of these do we have a graph API for, but I do know we've got one for users because we got to delete all the users. So I'm going to go to Graph Explorer. And here's Bing Desktop asking me to download itself. It downloaded again. And thanks to last time we were in Graph Explorer with B2C and a bunch of work from people in the chat, we learned that you can add tenant equals to the end of the Graph Explorer URL, and you can authenticate to a specific directory, which is super helpful for B2C.
And that works also with B2C, right? Is that correct?
Correct. Now,
which we didn't know, but now we do.
Remember that you're not actually connecting to the B2C side of things. You're connecting to the Azure AD side that lives underneath it. So it's not like it doesn't do all of the things that it would do otherwise. But, and you have to connect with an account. So you'll notice that this is like this weird.
You mean you connect with an Azure AD account, not with a B2C random Outlook account, right?
You don't connect with a B2C user. Well, maybe we should say that. So if a user goes through a user flow to sign in, they can't get to Graph, and nor can you if you do that. However, the administrators, the people who manage that directory, they can get to Graph because they're connecting with the underlying normal stuff, Azure AD. They're not connected with B2C.
Yep.
So the first thing we need to do is look for some users. Now, in this directory, because I've already cleaned it out, I don't have any users in here except for myself. Now, I don't want to delete myself.
Okay.
So that's one thing we kind of have to, because you can somebody has to be in the directory to delete it. So we have to delete all of the users except for you or another admin who has the rights to delete it. So this one's already handled because it's already empty. So we've got users that we have to figure out. And we want to do bulk deletes too. Like, I think that's going to be the other thing. So let me get my VS Code up here. I'm just going to take a few notes. So let's get my VS Code up. So this is just a regular console project. There's nothing exciting about it. All I've done is add references to Graph and Identity Client. That's it. And because we are going to do batching and stuff, it feels like it'd be a good idea to use Graph SDK. What do you think, Christos?
Oh, what? What happened to you? we haven't done any streaming for 3 weeks, and now you're using SDKs. Yeah,
well,
let's do the SDK.
Well, no, I don't want to have to write my own like paging and batching logic.
Thank you. Okay, let's do the SDK. And Bolt is saying, holidays have changed you, man. He came back and it changed, man. He got sick, he went to the beach, and now he's different.
Well, I'm going to go back to the beach in a few days, in a week.
Oh, I hope that doesn't reverse the effect.
Maybe it will. Maybe when I come back.
I'm going to roll my own HTTP client.
We could use the batch endpoint directly, Bolt.
No.
Absolutely. I've done that before. In fact, that's a great idea. Honestly, I've never done batching in the thing. So I'm just going to I'm going to do what I normally do, which is I kind of feel like this really upsets a lot of people when I do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. And we'll refactor it later.
All your bad influence.
Public class thing deleter.
Just when I turn him over, it's like.
So. Yeah, so I've got Copilot running, so we're going to see what kind of amazing stuff comes back from that, because I haven't done it with C#.
Put a comment there, say, go and delete my Azure AD B2C and see if it does it.
Let's see. So delete all users from Microsoft. Oh, wait, it said from Tenant. Okay.
Oh, that's you're gonna be redundant.
Okay, well that doesn't. Okay, implementation done.
Oh, you need to put a console right line saying completed. That's not complete.
That's right.
So somebody on GitHub went and wrote this and then just left that implementation there. I love it. Yeah, boss, it's all done. Took me 2 weeks, but we're good to go.
Tab-driven development. That's right. Thanks, Copilot. Okay. So I need to delete all users. Actually, we do need to delete all users. And let's see, what are we going to need in here? We need a graph service client.
In all seriousness, while JP is writing that, Copilot, I've been playing with JavaScript the last few days, so I had a bit more experience with Copilot. And I have to say that if you know what to ask for, and if you know what the expected code should look like, then Copilot can be a helpful tool. If you're very new to something and you're relying on Copilot to write the code for you, then I think that's a very bad approach into using Copilot. Hey, Def LO, is Def IO or Def LO? I don't know. What are we guys doing? We're writing an automation tool to allow you to delete Azure AD tenants automatically, along with all the associated objects.
Yeah, because deleting one requires a bunch of steps, and we're going to see how many of those steps we can achieve via API. Because I don't want to I just don't want to click 1,000 times just to get out of this. So,
yep.
So we got to delete all the users first. Look at that. That's a pretty good assumption. I mean, I don't need it filtered by tenant, but that's pretty good. I wonder if I deleted this. That's pretty good.
GitHub Copilot preview.
Look at that.
Marketplace? No, it's not. Are you excited? Look at the excitement at JP's.
Look at what it did. We got to get our users, obviously, right? Yeah. And we need to delete all of them.
Yes.
All I did was do that. So look at this. I mean, I don't want to I don't want to. Oh, look at that! It's got a dot weight on there. I don't want to jump to any.
Why is it not using? Change the method to async and then make the call proper awaitable.
Yeah, I don't like it. Definitely shouldn't have a result in there. Maybe it's because I didn't have it as an async to start, and probably because I don't have system. Right,
remove that and see what we'll do now.
And I don't have system threading in there, so let's see what this does. This is going to turn into a. Look at that! Delete async does show up with an await. I'm impressed. This is going to turn into just a Copilot stream at this point.
we will turn up on the stream, put a comment, and then it will go and write the code for us.
Actually, go on. Now I'm wondering.
Yes.
I wonder if instead of doing this, I we should write a tool
for Copilot
where all we do is go write a comment and a text file, and then we automate the tab key and see how close the code that Copilot gives us actually works. I don't know. I actually think that'd be kind of fun.
Hey, stick to the task, squirrels.
What'd you find funny on a Microsoft website?
Yeah.
I'm a little worried about what Def Low is about.
IO.
Is it IO or LO? Am I just getting old?
I don't know.
I'm a little nervous about what.
Def IO I.
So I don't have to do any paging. Now, I do want to do a batch, though. I don't want to delete every user with a discrete call, because what if you have, hundreds of users in there, right? Thousands of users.
That is a good call.
And we can only batch to, 15 or 20 calls at once, but...
Okay. Oh, he's LOL. Oh, Def LOL. I like it.
Def LOL. LOL.
Is it Defender or Defiance?
Fresh to death. Maybe. Elliot says recruiters are just going to be asking if developers know how to use Copilot. I'm just going to get a keyboard with just a tab key.
There you go.
So I want to do a batch. I don't remember how to do batch in the SDK. So let's go, let's see, graph SDK batch.
Did you Google for something?
I did, of course. Why not?
I am telling you, this is a new JP. I haven't seen this JP in the 1 year we've been streaming. That's the first time you're actually Googling.
95% of my job is 95% of my job is Googling. It's knowing what to Google for. That's
it
the
is,
only
but you don't do
difference
it on the
between-
stream. That's why it drives me nuts.
That's the only difference between a developer and a senior developer is knowing what to Google first, as opposed to having to meander to get there.
True.
He
found the batching, right?
He's got def from Python def. That's hard to say. Python def, because I wanted to say Python def, but not Python. Anyway, look at all this code. God, there's so much code when I could just have my simple little for each. I don't know, man. Maybe I don't want to batch it. There's so much code for this. So let's see.
So should we start with the unoptimized version and then jump to the optimized if we need to batch it? Maybe we have a get a count of all the users, and if the users are over a certain number, then we do the batching.
Maybe, yeah. So let me just because there's a lot of other stuff to set this up, right? So this is going to go get a calendar. Go get your calendar.
Yep.
Builds the batch. There's a batch request context, and then you add a batch request step.
Mm-hmm.
So you add the request and you add the user. Ah, I see. So what we could do then is we create a batch request and then we add a step. So in our code, the request that we have. So let's see. So we create our batch. We'll call this just deletion batch, I guess, or whatever. So our deletion batch,
yes,
we're going to add a batch request step, and that's going to be everything except for the delete async. So, but wait, but how does that work? We need to add that request in there, but the request isn't the actual deletion yet. Let me go look at this doc again.
Well, first you need to get all the users. I think then you need to batch them into. You need to batch the deletion of these users, right?
I think. Well, yeah. One thing we could do is we could just request their ID. That's all we need to do a deletion. I guess the thing is, like, the operation you're going to do on these users. You're right. Let's come back to batching because none of my directories have a ton anyway. We'll come back to it. Okay.
I think it's a premature optimization right now.
Yeah, you're probably right. Now, one thing that is not premature is we can do a select on this and just get the ID because it's literally the only field we need is the user ID.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Although we probably want to also get the user themselves, right? So we want to get self because we don't want to delete self.
That's a good point.
So let's do a select on this and just get my ID.
Select me.
X.ID, yeah. So we'll get me, and then our request, and then we'll do a filter where, let me do a new line break or whatever here. So for the filter, we'll do me dot. Is this
so
a lambda? What is
Elario, friends says you have to fetch the IDs and then for each create a request and add it to the batch request context.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Was we'll add each one of those two, and then we'll do the batch deletions.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm curious about is the actual operation on those users. The delete is not the request. The whole request thing in the Graph SDK kind of confuses me a little bit. But the request is the delete. That is a Graph service users collect. Oh, it says actually doesn't. It actually doesn't. Delete async doesn't exist on here, but
Oh.
Okay, let me come back around to that. So for our filter, we want the user ID not equal to the me.id, right? So essentially, I want all users except for me. I want just their ID, and then we're going to go get them. So we get them, and let's go back to the batch for a moment. So our deletion batch is a new, what was our type? What was that type? A batch request content, okay. Now, is there a different kind of batch? Because, I mean, a delete's just going to return, what, a 204?
Yes.
I wonder if is there a different kind of thing for doing operations that don't return data or only return empty responses, no content like that? Let's go look. Create a batch request. Batch request step. Okay, oh, that looks good, yeah. So this is our user request. You know, you're right, Bolt, in that we probably don't have to go and get our own ID. However, as an additional check, I guess, because we will have to sign. We'll sign in with IMSAL. We'll have an ID.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, I don't know if I'm going to trust that ID enough.
Why?
Well, because you've got home account identifier, and since in most cases you're going to be a B2B guest in your, you're going to be a B2B guest in a B2C tenant, because that's how it works. And yeah, I'm not using client creds. I'm going to do interactive on this one, Bolt. I'll probably do device code.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll do device code on this one.
So you'd be acting as your own context, not a service principal context, right?
Correct. You can always do this with in fact, the service principal may actually be easier. But I don't want to have to set up a service principal and do all that. I'd much rather go through an interactive logon, consent, and say, okay, we're done. You know?
Yep.
So I've got my ID. We're going to filter out these IDs. And then I guess my question is like, so each one of these users, I need to take my deletion batch, and we're going to, we're going to add a batch request step, and that's looking for a batch request step, which I didn't see that in the doc. Well, let's go back and look. Add batch request step is taking a user request. The user request is just graph.me.request. So yeah, you're right, Ilariu. We can just index on the user ID. We don't need to do a delete here. We index on the users collection on the user ID. And then can we add this as a step? Obviously not with the await here. Yeah, I think this is the thing I'm just not sure about is like, is there, because like,
you have to call execute for the call to go, right?
Yeah, but the deletion itself, I guess I don't know. I mean, surely you should be able to batch. Surely you should be able to batch a deletion in the SDK. I'm just not entirely sure how to do it. Because they all seem to be keyed off of this request object. But the request object...
One way to find that out is to actually dump the request into a variable and see what that contains. You know, the graph service client.users user ID.request, return that or assign that to a variable, and then look at the variable and see what it has inside. It's an user request. Maybe that may work.
So let's see. So we have an iBase request.
And
we have an HTTP request message. I wonder, could we craft our own deletion message to make that work? Batch request step. So we've got our batch request step. We're trying to figure out batching. Def lol. Def
Oh,
lol.
he's talking about his student verification process that is failing.
Oh no.
Trying to confirm his account as a student, and he can't do that because the website is broken.
What about this batch request step? Do we get anything in here? So that's a request ID. We get a request ID, the message itself, and then any dependent messages that depend on it. I wonder if we... Well, no, that'd be an interesting one.
It actually expects a message.
So delete async does return an iUser request, but I wonder if... So in our step, in here we do a delete async. Is this going to be looking for? Is this going to be looking for a result? No.
Ilaria says that it will return an iUser request, which is what is expected by the batch request step, right?
So then, are these? I guess the thing I'm wondering, it's not an actual delegate, right? I'm not adding a task. I'm not adding tasks to this list to be executed. I'm adding these requests. So the delete async is going to return a task, right?
Yep.
However, it will return an iUser request, which would mean if I can get to the result, where on earth is the result? Oh, you know what? Oh no, it's right, because it should return a... Because it should return... It will return an iUser request, so where is... Do I need to get my awaiter and then get the result of that?
Or do you even need the result because you're only sending the...
Well, that's what I'm not sure about. So delete async. This is so delete async returns... Oh, wait, no. It just returns a task.
Oh.
Let's see what Bolt says.
He sent a Stack Overflow.
Let's look at this one. So, batch request contents. Yeah, so they're adding an HTTP. So this one is adding an HTTP request message.
He's crafting his own message there.
Yeah.
Hey, I need to take a break. Should we take a break?
Yeah, let's take a quick break. Yeah, go get some, I don't know, go get a drink.
Water, coffee,
refresh your coffee,
beer, whatever keeps you happy.
Yeah, we'll be back in five-ish.
Yeah, music time, exactly. Bolt. Get your dance on.
Okay, we're back. So I do kind of like this. Although it's funny because this person is submitting them via to the batch endpoint directly, as opposed to using the SDK to do that. And it can only hold 20, so we're gonna have to keep track of how many we've got.
Yes.
Boy, it's kind of a pain, but
what kind of batching is it if you only do 20?
I mean, I guess.
Imagine if SQL said you can only do 20 items per batch.
I mean, I guess it's just. I guess it's 5%, right? 5% of the number of requests that you're actually going to send down the pipe. But even still,
okay.
But I do kind of like this. I mean, at least, well, I shouldn't say I like it. This feels very opaque, because I still am not entirely sure why I can't just add this request. But it's not like I think I can add this request. I think this request I can add no problem, right?
Okay.
But I don't want to request the user. I want to delete the user. So what we're going to ultimately end up with is a request URL, but we're going to have to build our own. We're going to have to build our own HTTP request, right?
Yes.
So we've got our request message. Is this a normal systemnet HTTP request message. Yeah, okay. It's not a graph HTTP request message. And yeah, that would be helpful, Bolt, an overload to say I want to do a delete. So we've got our delete here. So instead we're going to do users. We're going to have the user.id. That's going to be our request. We'll do, let's see, we need our graph service client. So then we get our request, and then we have to explicitly state the step, right?
Yep.
So we'll start at 1 because I don't think it's 0 indexed. And then we have to add to our step. And then our deletion batch, we need to add our step, which is our request step. Now, what is this last overload here? Dependencies. Okay, we don't need those. I wonder if we could depend on the user. As in, when we make the user's request, we get... well, no. Yeah. I'm thinking of how the paging works in that one. Like if I've got more than 1,000 users in my directory, right? But I'm pretty sure the for each works there. Okay, I don't need me. All right, so we've got users. We're going to get our user. We're going to get our request URL because that's all we need to do is a delete on that user object, right? We just do a delete. We just do a delete on that, right? So we've got our step. Now, the other thing we have to do is we have to batch these in batches of 20. So we need to figure out how many users we have first. Let's see. Oops. Now, do you know, Christos?
Yes.
Do you know if we, like, you know those new advanced query capabilities for... those advanced query capabilities that came where we do things like count, like $count true. Do you know if those are in the SDK?
Not all of them. You might have to use the beta SDK, and I know you don't want to do that, so don't get disappointed.
So I guess our batch count is going to be, what is that? User count.
Needs to set a consistency level too, don't you?
Yeah, I think I do.
Yeah.
So, wait, would this be mod 20? No, because I don't need the remainder except for the last one. So we've got our user count.
Mm-hmm.
How many batches are we gonna need?
5.
Or we could do, I guess we could do a skip take.
Ah.
Actually, I think the best way to do this. This is the kind of logic that I always have to like think about because I'm not very good at math.
Ball says it's 100 by default.
It is 100 by default, and we need to boost our to boost our request to include 1,000.
So you did in one go?
Well, we could boost it to 999. Let's see, Graph SDK set request size because I don't think we want to do a top. We just want each page size to be
999.
We just want each page size to be 999. So this is setting a top. But I don't really want to get just the top 999.
No, we want to get 999 per page, right?
Yeah, but this looks like it uses top to do that.
Oh.
And you have to create a page iterator and iterate over the pages yourself.
Oh, you can do skip a number, take a number.
Yeah.
That's a good approach.
Users.count. Divide that by 20 and get the actual int out of that. And then we create a new batch for each one of those, yeah. Thanks, Ilariu. I wonder if we're going to end up having to do a page iterator if we have more than 1,000 users.
I'm starting to see that if you have a small tenant, then the queries will be very different to having a larger tenant.
Yeah, they really would be.
Batch and set the page size.
Yeah, they really would be. What a pain.
Almost like two different versions of the program where you say, hey, this is for the small tenants and this is for the bigger tenants, or some kind of logic to work out. A pagerator, you mean?
That's honestly, that's what it. Here, I'm gonna grab eLarryU's code here.
You do have to have a page iterator to get all the users.
Yeah, so we'd end up instead of making this request, we're gonna have to iterate our pages ourselves.
Yes.
Which, I mean, I guess it would work the same way for either one. It's just a lot of extra, it's a lot of extra work that we have to do on our own.
There's no .NET baked in pagination. I mean, there are libraries that allow you to do pagination, but at this point, because we're interacting directly with Graph, we have to roll our own pagination, right?
Well, we have to work with the Graph. We have to work with the Graph page iterator. So we're essentially going to tell Graph to go and do our pages over and over and over again. Like, we have to step through the pages ourselves. And I mean, it shouldn't really be, I don't think it's going to be that much extra. Because we've got our request the way we want it. We're just going to have to create this iterator. The iterator is going to be the thing that actually adds the batch request to the list of batches. However, I wonder if we'll be able to, I guess we're going to have to keep track of the counts and state.
Yes.
To know how many we've got in there.
So now we have, interesting. So now we need state management.
And
we need the queue. And with the queue, what happens if the console crashes halfway through?
There is.
We need a database. Oh my god.
Oh my god! Like, this was supposed to be simple. This was supposed to be something simple we could knock out in 45 minutes. Boy, I mean, I guess we don't have to do it this way. But I mean, I feel like if you're going to do it, you might as well do it marginally correctly, right?
I mean, consider the scenario where something crashes halfway. I mean, if it crashes halfway through, I suspect that you can restart with selecting the remaining users and deleting them, right? Or like if it crashes halfway through, you'll execute the program and certain things won't happen if you've already completed them. So I don't think we need to manage that state. But
you're right about that. Yeah.
In memory, you'll need to manage the progress and keep count of where you are.
So, okay, hang on. I've got like 8 things going on. So let's get our iterator sorted, right? The iterator needs a client, then it needs the page of users, and the page of users is going to be out of the users, and then it's going to be making this callback on every single one of these, right? And the callback we need is going to be the thing that actually adds this to the batch. However, when we add to a batch, we're going to have to keep track of how many batches we've had, where we are in this current batch, and which batch we need to go to.
Yes.
So, Bolt says you can get top 20 and iterate the whole method. I mean, that's true. That's true, because then, that's brilliant. So, because we can only have 20 requests in a batch, yeah, we do need the total users too. You need to
get a full count first. Because you need to know how to get and skip and how many times you have to take that. So take and skip. You need to know exactly how many times you need to do that.
So this is going to for each through. So this M is a callback, right? So this delegate here is a callback, right? So I'm just going to put user there. Oops. So this is the callback. This is the thing we need to add to a batch. We need to know which. because users be deleted on the next get 20. I do think we're going to need to know how many users, because we're going to have to know how many batches of 20 we're going to have.
Yep.
However, if our callback was to call another method that was managing all that for us, our callback here could just say queue for deletion. That queue for deletion method would be the thing that manages all of the... we still need to know how many, though.
Break the loop if you have more than 20 users. That's it.
So...
I think you're overthinking it now.
Probably. I probably am. So let's start at 0, right? Oops.
Get the number of users.
Current batch count, right? Well,
okay.
Current batch... now here's an interesting one. Is there a dot length property on the on the batch?
A dot what?
A dot length on the batch. What's it called?
Oh, what is the
batch request content? Batch request content. Does this have a? Does it have a length property or a count on it? It does not look like it. That'd be way too easy.
Oh, too easy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess what we could do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, because we're essentially gonna have to have that many, right?
Yes.
Hi, Meatball Ciros.
Ah, he's Greek. Nice.
What is that? What do those words afterward mean?
It means hello. Just that. Yes.
Oh, well, hello. That seems like a lot of characters to say hello.
Well, he's got my name too, man.
Oh.
He says, Yashu Christo, which means hello, Christos.
Oh, good. Yeah, because the thing is, so we'll get our user, right? We're going to create our request, then we're going to essentially current batch request count plus.
Mm-hmm.
And if this is
I like when you put the comments, Copilot goes, hey, that's my queue, I'm coming in.
So if I guess this actually needs to happen here. If the current batch request count is greater or is less than 20, I guess. If it's less than 20, then we're going to add it to the current batch. But I need to have these batches essentially available, right? Like I'm going to say, hey, add this to a batch, but I need to have a discrete batch for each group of 20. You know what I mean?
Correct. Yes.
Now here's the other question. If we go and delete 20 of them,
yeah,
we're not going to re-request users.
No, we need to
So that should be okay. That should be okay because we're just going to plow through it in memory. And if we delete 200 out of 1,000 and we come back, we're going to end up with... Yeah, okay. Now, I'm thinking again about what Bolt had to say, which was if we only did top 20...
Uh-huh.
If we did the top 20, right? Okay, hang on. My brain's going somewhere. It might... It's trying. I'll say that much.
I'm not interrupting the flow. Go.
If we take the top 20, we're only going to have 20.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
So that would mean we get our 20.
Add them to the batch and execute.
Add them to the batch and execute. And then...
Go back and get the next 20.
When we hit 20, we create a new batch. So essentially, this feels a little hacky. I'll go ahead and say that. But essentially, so we get our user. What can we do with our user, by the way? So we get our user.
I think we need to exclude it from the collection.
Hang on. So, but I need the batch. Oh, that batch. Where is that batch going to be? Oh, that's cool. We can store the batch, right? So like, all right, hang on. So I'm going to create a batch. I'm going to create one batch. We're going to call this is our batch request content, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are only ever going to have 20. So batch add our deletion.
Yeah, that's a very good point. If you only take 20, you don't need the iterator.
Right. If we don't, well, no, we do need the iterator because we have 500 pages of 20. What we're really saying is, let's get our 20, right? We're going to do a batch at the 20 of those 20 in that page. We're going to delete the batch of 20 from the page, and then we're just going to create a new batch and do it again. So it's kind of a hack, not hack, but it's kind of hacky in the sense that instead of us knowing up front how many users we have and creating batches to represent that, enough batches to fill those or to handle all those users, instead we're saying, give me 20 at a time, and I'm going to go create a batch for each one of those 20. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is going to happen on each one of these users. So we create our batch.
Yes.
We're going to add so we're going to need that request. Yeah, so we're going to need the request. So we're going to add our request URL with an HTTP method of, we need to create a request first.
Yep.
So we're going to create our request with our delete method on it. And then our batch.add, we're going to add, what does the batch need? It needs a request.
So Meatball Chilos is asking what kind of stage are we right now? And I would say we're in the middle of JP's brain dump, where he's trying to work out how to iterate and batch things together to do an execution. Yeah,
that's probably a good way to describe it. Is probably a bit of a brain dump. Okay, I don't need this twice. We will have to keep a count somewhere outside of this. So we're still going to need current batch request count. We'll put that up here.
Ask Copilot to do it for you.
Actually, we need, because
Copilot's brain dump.
We'll put current batch step, right? Because the steps are one indexed, not zero indexed. And then our batch, we're going to add our step, right?
Yes.
Now, so we've got our step. We don't need this because we will not ever have more than 20. We need to bump our batch step. Oops. Current batch step. So we're going to bump our batch step up. And then we're going to end up with this batch that needs to execute. So this is the part that I don't really like. So if the current batch step equals 20.
Yes.
Oh, I don't like this at all. Then we're going to do a graph service client execute batch.
Yes.
Or what is it? Is it batch.execute? Okay. Ooh.
You can check the docs.
No, it doesn't have an execute on it. So how do we execute our batch?
Go to docs.
Okay.
The last batch request may not have 20 users to delete. Ooh, yeah, we need to check whether that's the last one.
Might
be 19, and then it will never happen.
It's a very good point. We do need to sort that out.
You're in the wrong doc. You're looking at pagination. Oh,
no, this is the batch doc.
Yeah. Well, I'm a few seconds behind. Remember?
Oh no, graph client batch request, and then you post the batch.
Oh.
So graph.
Ilaria says send batch async.
Is there a send batch async on there? Graph service client. Is there a send batch async on there? I didn't see one. That's why I was wondering. There may have been. I wonder if there was one before.
Yeah, the UI, the API may have changed.
I think it did. Because the way they've got it is graph service client, batch, request,
Post.
Post async, batch. That's the way the docs have it, but it still doesn't like that anyway. Oh, this is an async, though, because we're not in an async. We are not in an async method because we're in this anonymous method for this. We're in this callback for this. Because we're in our page iterator. And
hey, create a local async method. Use C#8 and C#9.
Now, the other thing we could do is, we could just load up our batches and add our batches to a list of batches.
Oh God! Oh God! And then iterate through the list of batches.
And then execute them all afterward.
You could do that, I guess, but
an async lambda may return void task or task T, none of which are convertible to fun. So what is this callback expecting?
4 to 5 batches. That would be too early.
A funk of
too early to execute.
A funk of user bool. Yeah, I don't think, because that's not a task, right? I can't do that. So I'll have to
create an async function.
I'll have to wait it. I could just wait it, and it's essentially the same thing.
Is it?
Well, I'm in a non-async function that can't return a task.
Oh God! Oh, I don't know. It doesn't look good.
I can't return a task.
No, you can't return a task. Get a waiter, get a result. I don't think it's exposed on that post async. Is it?
Sorry?
Is get a waiter, get result available on the post async?
It is.
Okay, I would go with that.
Yeah, because that'll give us our content.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have to figure out, and see, this is why I guess we're still going to have to know. We're still going to have to know how to send that last one.
Yes.
Because if I have 21, right, we'll load up our 20, we'll run. But if I don't have, I wonder if can does the page iterator tell me how many pages I have up front? I don't think it does. I really liked this idea until right now. Because I feel like we're still going to have to know how many users are in here up front. We're going to need to know how many users are there in total.
You need, and then you need to divide by 20 to see how many batches you will have, and then count the batch number and say if the batch number is equal to the last batch number. So let's say you have 400, right? Then you'll have 20 batches of 20 users. Sorry, let's say you have 399. You'll have 19 batches of 20, and then you'll have one batch of 19. That will be n minus 1. So if your current batch count is n minus 1 of the total batch count, then you should execute, regardless of how many users you have. Did I explain it correctly?
Well, so here's the thing, though, Bolt. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at what Bolt just said. Current batch step equals users.count. This is to what you were just saying, too. If we run this with a top 20, does users only have 20 in it? Like, is my user.count going to be 20 after this request? Like,
yes.
Because it's only got 20 in that. It's only got 20 in that specific request, right?
Exactly. So you need to do another call to get all the users.
Oh, good Lord. But like to what Bolt is saying, he's saying that in our delegate.
Oh, I see. If the count is 20, then add them. If it's less than 20, if the user count is less than 20, then work with what we have.
What I'm really curious about, though, is we are never... Well, I mean, it is... Yeah. I mean, it's possible that would be there. It's possible it would work. Now...
That's a good call.
Well, no, because we have a... So we have the page. Okay, so let's see if page... What does page have in it? Well, no. So we've got our iterator. Our iterator needs our client, the collection page, which is users, which is our request. So in theory, because it's making that request, our request, that user's request, should be how many are actually in that specific iteration of it. Right? We can test this, right? We can set this to like 2 or 5 or something, right?
Eventually, you know that we haven't run a single line of code yet.
We haven't even hooked up our MSAL to this yet. We're not even authenticated yet. It's funny that the hardest part about this won't be the authentication.
No, that will be the easiest part because we already have the code for that.
So I
need
think
a haircut.
you need a haircut.
I need a haircut.
I need a haircut too. I didn't get one last time she was here. I need to get that done.
We can be haircut buddies. Let's go today.
Now we don't need any extra headers, so we can get rid of our headers. We don't need to configure subsequent requests. We can get rid of that, and then we don't need all of the code that we sort of wrote before, right?
Yes.
I don't know why this indentation doesn't seem to work, but it's really bugging me.
I'll see if that doesn't work for you.
Control ED is what I use for format document, and for whatever reason, this one method wouldn't do it. So let's get rid of this.
I tried to click on your code in my screen and press Control Shift F.
What
is Control Shift F or Alt Shift F? I think it's Alt Shift F.
So we're going to do top 20 on the page iterator. Gruff. And the reason for that is instead of having to do our batch math up front, we will just get the max batch size. Because we can only stick 20 in there anyway. So we're only going to get 20 users at a time to build the batch. If that makes sense. Okay. I feel like this is... Well, not Alt Shift F. What does that do?
Formatting.
My format document is Control E, Control D. And that's what I've been hitting, but it doesn't. For whatever reason, it wouldn't do that. I don't know.
You haven't tried mine. Have you tried Alt Shift F?
Well, I don't know what that does on my machine.
What's the worst that can happen? Delete your code?
Could. Alt Shift F does nothing.
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong. It does. Well, no, I have mine specifically set to that.
Oh, you've overrode the shortcut. I see. You got your own funky stuff. Fine.
Alt Shift
aliases.
Alt Shift F. It says that's still there for something. I don't know what though.
Okay.
It says it's still there for format document, but Control E. I have that for format. I have that for mine. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway. Okay. I think we're ready to try to run it. Sorry, I think we're ready. I think this code might be done. So we got to create us a graph client up here.
Okay.
So here's where we're going to have to do all of our MSAL work. So this is a new public client application. Or no, we don't do that. We have to do a builder. Public client application builder? Is that what it is? I don't remember. Do you remember what it is, Christos?
Sorry, which one? What am I...
What's the builder syntax for MSAL? Create
application.
So we'll have to give it one of those.
So new, isn't it? New public client.
I think I got it now.
Okay.
Public client application builder.create. With authority common, because we're going to do multi-tenant, com/common. That might be all we need. Because it's public clients, we don't need any of the other stuff. I think it's all we need. Just a client ID and an authority. And I don't even know if we need that authority. I think common might be the default one. So let's go get so we created our app registration earlier. We're going to do a public client. What is the redirect for, is it my app auth? for public clients, Christos? Do you remember?
Uh,
Because we're going to do device code, right?
are we doing device code?
I think so. That makes
So if
no
you go into
sense, don't you think?
authentication, then it will tell you what it is. I use the MSAL one.
So I'm going to do, let's see, no keyboard device code. Yep, so we're going to do that one. Save. Yeah, because I don't want to figure out like how to fire up a web browser and do all that stuff they do in things like VS Code.
Yep.
Speaking of VS Code,
Mm-hmm.
I think we are streaming well beyond our welcome on developer. We should probably turn that off.
But
Hey, if you're watching us on Microsoft Developer,
Is there anybody on Microsoft Developer Day?
I don't know. I hope not. You know what?
There's no-
We'll roll till we get kicked off. How about that?
Exactly.
And if we do get
Yeah.
kicked off, you can always find us at Twitch, 425 show on Twitch. Okay, so we got public client flows on. That's all good. Let's get our client ID because we're going to need that. So we got our client ID. We got this. We got this. So this is our MSAL client. So
We could raid the 4-5 show, but if we raid the 4-5 show now, we'll terminate the Microsoft Developer stream. Whereas, we like to keep you guys happy. You can always join us on the 4-5 show, which is the main one.
okay.
With authority, okay.
So we've got our. So let's see. With device code, we're gonna need a list of scopes. We're gonna need a lot of scopes.
Yes.
Now, actually,
Yes.
though, because we're doing graph, we have to do things a little bit different because of graph, right?
Yep.
Because graph needs that graph needs the what? I authentication provider for graph. So we need to go create us one of those.
Do you not have one straight out of the box? We got like 1 million samples that we've used this before.
I do have a bunch of them. Let me go grab one. It's called an I authentication provider. I authentication provider. Okay. In this user. There we go. We got at least 10 of them. All right. Here we go.
So rather than rewriting the code, what we're doing here is we're using one of the existing MSAL authenticator code components that we have to do it quickly. Is that all you need, that class?
I don't like that class because I didn't write it. It's It's one of the ones that came out of a sample that I'm not a big fan of. So I'm gonna go get a different one. Is there one in here?
So JP saying he doesn't trust our samples or some random sample.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like.
I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, so we need this authenticate request async. I mean, that's really the only
Yep.
thing we need. But whatever. Let's go grab this. I'm not going to pull in all this configuration silliness because then we got to wire up all that, and that's just a total pain. I don't feel like dealing with that today. Yeah, like all the option stuff. We're just going to hard code this bad boy for right now because I just want to see if it's going to work more than anything. This is really all we need. We got to set our client up here.
Yeah, we do have a Discord. If you haven't joined our Discord, it's ak.ms/45 show /Discord/join. It's on the link as well. I'll add it to the chat. So if you have any identity-related questions, you can always reach out to us, and we're more than happy to help you.
Now, so authenticate request async is in graph. Graph takes its requests right before it sends them, and it essentially sends them to this authenticate request async, which just stamps a header value on there.
Correct.
So when we're doing client creds, we just do client creds. But because we're doing interactive on a public client, we probably need to go through the whole thing here, right? So
Yes.
we need to try to get a token silently.
Yep. That's the standard pattern for MSAL, by the way. You always try to get it silently. If it's in the cache, then it will get it. If it's not in the cache, it will prompt you for interactive authentication. And this is an interactive authentication because we are signing in as ourselves. Not very common on console apps.
So, yeah, it is not common on console apps. So we need to catch the MSAL UI required exception, which is the thing that MSAL sends back to you to say, hey, I can't get anything out of the cache, so you're going to need to get your user back in front of me here.
Yep.
So we need to declare some scopes somewhere in here. Which we'll just do that up here. I wonder, should we send the scope? No, we don't need to send the scope request in. We'll
check out how I'm gonna trigger JP. Put them in the customs file.
Oh, you can do me dirty. That's awful.
Put them as an RESX, a resource file.
A resource file.
Remember those
fantastic.
good old days? WPF, XAML, resource files.
No, we could cheat and do a .default here too, by the way.
We could.
We'll come back to that.
Yes. That means they have to declare them on the app registration, though.
Right. So we can at least change that. Now that's the other thing. We are going to need an account here.
You need an account that has already signed in, right?
We need an I account. Well, let's see. So for the account, oh wow, look at Copilot go. Get account. Oh. See, the thing is, I don't know. This is what I can't stand. Is why does it do this? Like this is, I believe get accounts async is deprecated, right? So it's
the get accounts async is deprecated, and you have to use the get account, which means that you need to know what the account is.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I don't like that at all.
Because you could do get accounts async and then say get me the first one, and it would just work.
Do we need? Yeah, we have to get the first one, which is pretty lame. But so let's.
Well, you get a collection, so it's obviously you only need one account to pass there.
Yeah. Wait, no, I don't want to do that. I thought we still had to do an execute async on this thing.
Not for the accounts, I think.
You don't have to, really? Not on the accounts? I thought we did. But maybe you're right. Maybe we don't.
Well, you'll find out very quickly once you run it.
That's true. Okay. Okay, no, so that is... Yeah, okay. So we'll do our first or default here. I guess we could just do a first. Because it's going to blow up either way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we need we do need an execute on the actual token call that goes. So we got to get that. So we get our execute async on our token call. If this fails, then we need to go interactively with device code. Yep. So we'll do that. And for this, of course, all we will need are our scopes.
By the way, you need to declare the token outside of the method so you can access it on line 45.
Already there. There is one.
Oh, you just redeclared it. Okay.
Yep. Well, I have it up here.
Yep.
Okay, and then once we get our token, we got to go fix our acquire with device code. Once we get our token, we just tack that into the request that goes out. We're good. Hey, too fast.
Oh, wow. You were able to decipher that.
I was. I am.
You're good. You're getting good at this.
I'm old.
It's like, can you learn an old dog new tricks? Apparently you can. JP can read all these names. I can't.
What I don't know how to say is XD. I don't know what the pronunciation is of XD.
I think it's just
like the emoji.
Huge smile,
like laugh.
isn't it?
Well, I know that,
yeah,
but I don't. You don't want to say to somebody, "Hello, to huge smile fast," because that just sounds weird. So I don't know what the shorthand is to pronounce like an XD. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mr. Magic? I don't remember Mr. Magic. Who's that?
No, don't remember Mr. Magic.
And then we need our, let's see, what's our callback going to get? Our device code result callback. Oh, that's right, because we got to print the device code. I forgot. Oh, my God. I'm losing my mind. It's been a while. Am I thinking about doing this all the wrong way, Christos?
But you would prefer a different way to do it?
No, but I think you've done a lot more device code than I have.
I've never had to print the device code. It does it for you.
Oh, it does it for you. Okay, then I'm overthinking this whole thing again.
Yes,
okay.
you are.
Let me go look at the docs. Device code. Device code.
Wait, I am so confused right now. It says, are there any plans for CBL Mariner review or showcase? What is a CBL Mariner?
A CBL Mariner's our that's one of the Linuxes that we use internally in Azure and stuff.
Oh.
I mean it's out there in GitHub. I don't know. I don't know if Mariner's going to ever end up being like a general purpose thing that people download and use, or if it's specific to, or if it's just going to be a specific thing for us. I think for right now it's a specific thing for Azure. I don't know if we're going to end up. I don't know if it's going to end up being like a general purpose thing that people. I mean, I think you can go get it. I'm pretty sure it's out on GitHub, but yeah. Okay. So let's see. msal.net device code. I just need some syntax. I don't need the flow diagram. I need some syntax. You know, I have to say, so it's the Windows 11 Lite theme is actually not too bad. Oh no, what did Bolt send us?
Oh man, I was trying to pronounce something. Oh, it was one of the usernames. Like I can't stop laughing.
Oh my god, yeah, that's awful.
Hello, Mag.
Oh my god, that's awful. Oh, I feel like such an idiot.
Did we need some more coffee that morning? I have no idea how we couldn't pronounce magic. God.
Oh,
Go
man,
back to first grade, right?
Oh, that's just...
MAGIK.
Oh man.
My geek.
So the device code result. Okay, so here we go. So device code result. This will print the message on the console which tells the users where to go, blah, blah, blah. We'll poll the server after firing. The background polling will occur until the user, the timeout, the developing app calls cancel.
Yep.
So
it's all handled for you.
So it's all handled for us. We don't have to do anything. Is what I'm picking up.
You never have to manually do all that. That's the beauty of MSAL with all these things. It just does it for you.
Got it. Cool.
Yep.
Okay. Now I do have the wrong reply URL. So I need to go update my reply URL. So let's go fix that. Oh no, it's already there. Even better. I didn't have to do it myself at all. Public client, done. Okay. So I don't have to do anything really.
Yeah. Run it.
I mean,
run this bad boy.
Pretty much return task, completed task at this point.
Yep.
Which it doesn't even like that.
You just need to pass the tasks. You don't do the scopes. You don't do anything else. Just execute async.
No, it's expecting.
Oh, it's expecting something.
Yeah, it needs the result callback.
Oh.
Which is fine. I mean, we can do this. So we'll just return task, completed task here. And then, of course, they're writing this out to the console, I guess. We'll do that too. Result callback. I don't know. Okay, I do like Copilot, but it is kind of, it's conflicting.
It's getting in the way, right? It's getting in the way
feels
sometimes.
feels like it's kind of getting in the way. Especially with like IntelliSense. Because now I'm okay.
IntelliSense, IntelliCode, and Copilot all fighting for the front seat.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, if I tab here, what's going to happen? Like, you don't know.
Maybe you need to disable the IntelliCode IntelliSense. Although, can you? I think OmniSharp does it by default.
Now, here's another question. Now that I'm thinking about this, right? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, I want you to go sign in.
Yes.
But you're going to have to pick a tenant. You're going to have to, because if I sign in with my Microsoft account, it's going to sign me into the Microsoft Corp domain by default, right?
That is a good point.
Because that's how the home realm discovery works, which means we can't actually do common here. What we're going to have to do is ask the user and say, hey, user, what directory do you want to connect to? And because we don't have a publicly available organizations endpoint that says, hey, what organizations are you a member of? E.g., what tenants are you a member of? Because we don't have a publicly available one of those, somebody's going to have to give us either their tenant name or their tenant GUID, and then we're going to have to build our client from that. See what I mean?
Oh, wow. Okay.
So what that means is, oh man, God, now I got to ask people for stuff on the console. Oh no.
Oh, you can do scenes. Yeah, you can say console read line and console write line. Lovely.
What?
Console read line.
Oh well, sure. Or I guess we could do args too. I saw somebody had written a really cool library for interacting with the asking and parsing values on command line a lot easier. So.
I know. I think I've seen it somewhere, but I haven't used it in.
The Copilot thing down here kind of looks like.
It's like a cat. It's like a pirate.
It reminds me of. You know what it kind of looks? I think it's supposed to be the GitHub Octo thing with like pilot goggles on, but it looks like a mushroom. It looks like a mushroom from Mario, like with the long line eyes, you know, or from Kirby.
I think for me it looks like a frog.
Yeah, it does.
A frog with one eye closed.
Man, there's so much like goop we have to write in this. Like our actual logic isn't even that hard, but like, I just want to delete all my users turns into, oh, by the way, like, I hope you feel like learning about the Graph SDK's specific page iteration stuff today, and oh, now we got to go ask users for stuff. Give me a tenant. So then we end up with a read line, but it's like, let's see, user, and this isn't going to be scrubbed at all. And it'd be nice to send this in as an argument too, but which if we do a .NET run, we can pass the arguments in there, right?
You can. That's right.
Well, looks like we're going to make this a little easier then.
Yeah, but you're now going to have logic to see if it's been passed as a parameter. If it's not been passed as a parameter, then you need to request it. Or you can't execute unless somebody passes it, I guess. You can say you haven't passed the args.log. Never seen that before.
Yeah, I've never seen that either. Okay, so look at this. Caparino and Meatball happen to be in the same place.
Is that not like Superman and Clark Kent? Is that even possible?
Wait, what if they are? That's true. Okay.
Caparino doesn't get it. He doesn't get the reference. Clark Kent and Superman could not be at the same place at the same time.
That's true.
We think that you're the same person. I mean, Meatball and Caparino.
Because you've never seen them in the same place at the same time. What if, what if you and I were just different heads on the
Versions.
same AI?
Yes. Maybe we're deep fakes.
That's true. We could be.
It could be. You never
Turns
know.
out this whole thing is just, you know,
The Matrix.
it's just one. I started watching The Matrix again last night.
Did you? Did you fall asleep?
No.
It's so dated, dude. They had the phone, like the Nokia ones, 6120, whatever it was.
Don't. It's. I don't even know if it's dated. I feel like it's. I feel like it's a classic. Okay. I guess we're gonna have to trust. I'm gonna trust my user for a moment.
Yeah. No input sanitization, which is like a big no-no for application security. But
exactly. But I just
please
want
don't do this.
I just need to run it.
Please
That's
do
all I
not
wanna
do
do.
this at home, kids. Do not try this at home, or under production code.
I just
want
want
to run it.
I just want to see if it works. That's all I want to do.
Famous last words of every developer. I just want to run it. What's the worst that can happen?
Because I know it's. I think it's because I know it's not going to. But I need to know why. I can't think far enough ahead to know why it's not going to work to start, and I want to, I need to figure that out. Okay, so now we've got to create. I got to create a graph.
Mm-hmm. Take the red pill or use Copilot. I'll take the red pill.
Our graph service client needs a new MSAL token provider. We're going to have to pass in a tenant ID here. Oops.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to update this to string tenant ID, and then we'll just put our tenant ID in here. Okay. So this way, we're going to say, we're essentially asking the user, what do you, like, which tenant or which directory do you explicitly want to sign into? Because we don't have an API that's public that lets us show you what you are a member of and then do something with it. There are some that get close, but not all of them. Like management.azure.com/tenants will show you every tenant you're a member of that has an Azure subscription in it. And of course, B2C directories don't have that, and thus they won't work. Okay. So
why is MSAL client on line 28 underlined?
Where?
28.
You know I'm sharing my screen with you, so you can see it in real time, right?
Are you sharing your screen with me? Yes, you are. Damn, sorry.
It's all good. Okay, so then our thing deleter, TD is a new thing deleter, and our thing deleter needs our graph client. And I think that's it.
Line 37, Bolt is asking, is that tenant ID, the client ID, is that your B2C or is that your Azure AD client ID?
It's an Azure AD client ID. It's a multi-tenant Azure AD client ID because, A, I want to delete these things. I don't want to keep them around. And B, since we have to do all those operations to the graph, we have to do all those operations to the underlying Azure AD. We can't do them to through B2C directly. So this is a multi-tenant app registration in a separate tenant.
Mm-hmm.
In a separate tenant that is not going to be deleted because
So that will also need to be passed in as a parameter eventually when we build this thing and fix it. Yeah. Oh no.
No, I mean it's not it wouldn't be a one-time parameter. No, I mean you could always replace it with your own. Okay, I think we might be ready to go.
We're ready to go. Let's run this baby.
Oh man, what do we do here?
Anticipation.
It's an async static task main. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Man, it's been a while. Okay.
You know, I was so delighted when that made it in because, you know, you had to await results, or sorry, get await and then get result, which was awful in console apps.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I like your friend's finish. It's like a movie.
You don't even need a main in .NET 5 per bolt.
5 or 6?
I thought that was in 6, but maybe
I thought it was in
maybe I'm
6.
wrong.
Yeah, top level statements and not needing a wrapper.
So of the let's see here.
Oh wait. You need to add the application permissions in your app registration.
I do. So
Graph.
of the things that we need to delete, this whole long list of things we need to delete here, we've managed to get enough code written that we haven't yet run yet to do one of them. So
Yeah,
Way to
LinkedIn
go.
application. I love the LinkedIn application.
way to
That
go,
is-
team.
Yeah, way to go, team. That's gonna be a long stream, right? Do all Azure
Well-
accounts automatically have an AD hooked in somehow? Yes, you need to have an Azure AD in order for you to be able to.
Correct.
Sorry, you don't need an Azure AD. You can use your MSA account, right? Your Microsoft
But
account.
that will create a stub Azure AD. The only thing that Azure knows about in terms of security is Azure AD. But
Azure
that's
AD.
just for management. Like there are other things, but okay. So what Elliot Brand just mentioned too was I've been working on trying to spin up container instances. Keep talking about logging in with tenant IDs, but I don't see one on my account. Your tenant ID. So you can hover over your name, and you'll see where it says, and my screen resolution is low, but you'll see where it says directory. You can also click the little filter guy over here, and it'll give you your directory. This will be the directory your subscription is linked to. This is your tenant ID, for example. Okay, so we're going to go try to run this. Let's do it with... Oh, man, look at this. This isn't that hard, really. I have no idea why that was written like that.
Something organization. Don't use these two.
Don't use this too. Okay, so if nothing else, we have a pattern for all the other objects that we have to delete for batching, whatever. So I actually feel pretty good about that. Okay.
Oh,
So
now
let's-
you're gonna refactor this to be a more generic kind of set, and then you just pass the object that you want to delete, and we'll go and do it for you.
That's actually a great idea. We just say, hey, here's the request. We want you
Yes.
to batch this request. Go.
Yes.
Because
Or the object I want you to delete, right? And then we'll go and do it for you.
I mean, if we look at our code, we have the users, we have the request, and that's like the only thing we need is the object's ID.
Correct.
Anyway, okay, let's run it. I'm just trying to find the right directory to run it with. So let's see, .NET run. How do I pass arguments? Just straight up, or do I have to say like args?
No, you just pass the. I think you just pass the argument. I haven't done it in forever. You just pass the arguments.
.NET run, yeah, additional arguments. Okay, easy enough. Additional arguments. Arguments past the application that's being run. So .NET run. Okay, so let's. I need a directory name. Let's go get our directory that we want to delete. This one is this ID or downhill from here. I'm going to try it with the name because the name should work fine. Let's see. The only problem is I don't have any users. So let's just let me just add a couple users. I'll create a B2C user. Username, blah, 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 blah. Whatever. Cool. Users there. Got them.
PRA to win is asking what we're building, and what we're building is an automation process to delete Azure Active Directory tenants or B2C tenants. And so far, we've done number 1 of our 10 in the checklist, deleting users. Before we delete the Active Directory, we need to delete the underlying objects and collections, and users is one of them. So this code will try to delete all the users in that tenant in a batch manner.
So let's do a batch size of 1 so we can test our batch
Ooh, I like it.
stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Proper testing, yeah.
Well, we'll do a batch size. I'll do a batch size of 2. And I guess I'll put a breakpoint and we'll actually debug this. So, which... Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Bold. I forgot to put the bang Discord to let people know how to join us on Discord. There you go.
Okay, give me a tenant. All right, I can do that. Tenant, pow. All right. Mm-hmm.
Do you put a breakpoint?
I put a breakpoint.
Oh no, you did it.
I put a breakpoint delete all users, but I didn't put a breakpoint in our MSAL code.
But you're not running in the context of. Are you running in the context of Visual Studio Code?
Yeah.
Oh, you created a launch JSON. Okay, I didn't see that. Paying attention to the comments.
So I gave it a tenant, but it doesn't seem to. I don't know. It's just not doing anything.
Downhill from here.
I guess I need more breakpoints more frequently. That's what it's looking like from here. All right. Okay, so our args, we have no args. Give me a tenant.
Yeah.
Here is the tenant.
Uh-oh, I think we can do console read line.
We can't do that we can't do it here, can we? It doesn't seem like it likes that. It's like it never returns. What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
It's very strange.
That's how you do read line, right? back to C# basics. How do I do a read line?
Did I forget how to do a read line? Because it's certainly possible.
Read line C#. I'm just looking at it. Console.readline. And
yeah, I mean, I don't know why it's not. I don't know why it's not reading my line. I guess maybe this debug console doesn't do that. I mean, I guess I can look on the internet. Let's see. I don't know why Control T isn't working. .NET. What's wrong with my keyboard?
battery out.
No, I mean it's like VS Code is like completely
Killed everything.
Over. It's like it took over my keyboard. Hang on a sec. I know my keyboard's okay because I just put new batteries in it. So.
Just blowing it like a cartridge from.
Okay, there we go.
Old
Keyboard
Jameson.
is back. All right. So can you not do a console readline VS Code debug?
You should be able to do that.
Create a new .NET Core CLI app using .NET New console readline. Yep. Okay. Switch to VS Code debug. Start debugging. Blah blah blah. To read input whilst. Why does while not work here? Why whilst? Well, I mean, sorry, it just bugs me. To read input
you for being such a pedantic, I'm surprised that you're commenting on whilst.
That's exactly why, because I am so painfully pedantic. I'm like, why are we using whilst when we could use while? Okay, we need a console property. I see. In launch.json. Interesting. So you can use external terminal, integrated, or internal console. I use integrated terminal as a terminal inside of VS Code itself, which is fine. I don't really care why. Internal console doesn't work by design. Internal console uses the debug console tab, blah, blah, blah. Since the input box is used to run expressions on the current stack, there's no place to pass that in. Makes sense.
Ah, there you go.
Okay.
So I would say run the command with the... Oh, you're going to use that? Okay.
Integrated terminal, then it'll just show up over here.
Okay.
Should be fine, right? Okay.
Yeah, let's do that. Use .NET run in debug mode. We're in debug mode. Caparino.
I could do that too, I guess.
Do you have a hammer? Would you have a hammer? Also, it is a console program. Yeah, it is a console program for now. We're probably going to turn that into something like a worker role with running in an ACI, something in Azure Container Instance. Okay. Right.
Okay.
Do this.
Don't need this. I guess, well, whatever. All right. Give me a tenant. What was it called?
I don't remember.
What was the name of the tenant we were just working in that I've lost? We added a bunch of users to. This one was downhill from here.
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft on Microsoft.com. Okay.
There you go.
Tenant ID is empty. So my paste, obviously my paste did not work. So I'm just going to type it. This is so ridiculous. It's like, I'm fairly certain that writing software is 95% tooling and making your tools work.
Hey, dude, I spent half a day trying to get a Next.js app debugging inside VS Code.
Yeah, like
it's the truth, right? I wrote the code and I couldn't debug it.
Yeah, I mean, so much time is burned struggling with tools.
Tooling.
I mean, I remember that too. Like when I was doing like everyday software development for money, it was the same thing.
Yep.
Downhill from here on Microsoft.com. Did that actually make it in this time? Yes. Okay, yes. Good. So we got our thing deleter. We've got our delete all users from graph. Cool. Okay, so let's get my ID to sign in. Go to device. There we go.
Nice.
Go to device login and enter this.
Automatically for you.
Okay,
you can control click on the URL, by the way. We'll open in a new tab.
I know. I'll be honest. I'm a little curious how this is going to work tenant side. You're signing into Tenant Deleter on another device located in the United States. Okay.
Yeah.
I need to use my corp account because my corp account, but my
Is
corp account is a. See, this is where I'm worried this isn't going to work.
Okay.
Let me figure out which phone's going to buzz enough to get me logged in here.
This doesn't work for me. I have to go password and then use the other thing. You said I have to configure my authenticator, right?
Correct.
Is it in the authenticator or is it?
See, this is the thing.
Oh.
This is what I'm not sure about. Oh, no. Look, it's correct. Look, I can't zoom to show you, but look at the URL. Log in at MicrosoftOnline.com.
You can zoom. Control, you can do Windows plus. We'll do the zoomer. Come on, zoom in.
I know. And then my machine stops working for 20 minutes. So yeah, so if we look at the URL in this case, I believe it seems correct.
Perfect.
It should be, because normally this would be login at MicrosoftOnline.com/tenant name is the tenant you are actually trying to sign into. Because of course, remember, we're not signing into my normal tenant. We're signing into our B2C tenant that we want to do work to. Now we haven't added any permissions here, and because we haven't added any permissions, we don't have any permission yet except for to sign in. So it's going to blow up for that, but that's cool. So
we can see if the code proceeds. There you go. Sign in. Cool beans.
So now we're signed in. Cool. And it blew up.
The request was canceled due to the configure HTTP client. Oh, timed out.
We took too long.
Too long. Also, that's a good opportunity to go and add the permissions that we need.
Yeah. And it also means that we're probably going to need some kind of local file cache for my thing. For our tenant
for our
token cache.
For your token cache.
Swear to God, I should have just done a Postman collection and been done with this 3 hours ago.
Hey, you decided to write the code.
I know. But I mean, I like writing the code. It's just everything just is so involved. Like, and for what reason? You know what I mean?
Well, you're showing people how to do it the right way. So we can take the shortcuts, but people in production, when they write the code, they won't be able to take these shortcuts. So we need to show people how to do it right. So
we're going to go big on this one.
Everything.
No, I'm just kidding. I mean, we are going to need quite a few. We're definitely going to need user read write all.
Mm-hmm. Big more.
Of course, we want to try to adhere to least privilege, right? So we're going to need user read write all.
Applications read write all.
Yep. We're going to need applications. We're going to need a bunch of different ones, but for now, we're going to stick to this just because
we're only doing users for
users is the only thing we have implemented. So yeah, so it's no big deal. So we'll stick to users. Okay. Lord, I hope we don't have to do an MSAL file cache. I just got to be really fast this time. Okay.
I don't think you'll need a file cache for it. Oh, because you only acquire the token once, and then you're using the same token over and over and over again.
Downhill from here. Okay. We typed in our token. Ping, 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 ping. Yeah, but
Sign.
it's keeping it in memory, right? Because we
Correct.
haven't written a file cache, sadly. So I have 100 seconds to get logged in.
You can do it. You can do
device, Microsoft device login. Come on. Code. Oh my God, it's gonna make me sign in again. I know it. I can feel it. Oh no, please don't make me sign in again. Yes, I'm trying to sign into Tenant Deleter. You've signed in. Good. Okay. Come on. Redeem.
There you go.
Good. We're redeemed. And invalid filter. Damn. Okay. That's okay. That's just because I'm an idiot. We're going to need a cache, though, because every single time we blow up, we're going to have to go and sign in again. I don't want to sign in every time. So lame.
Copy the token and stick it in a variable. Don't do this.
In graph, is a NEQ for not equal? Filter ID. Is it? I thought it was NE, but it must not. Was it NEQ?
I think NEQ is for
that for power
or PowerShell.
PowerShell.
Yeah.
Well, I had NE and it didn't like that. The ID property can only be used with the equals operator.
So you can do exclusions. God, for Christ's sake. Oh, no. It's fine. You get all the users from the request, and then you just do another collection where you exclude that with link. You'll do a select.
I could also just say, if this user's here, don't put them in the batch. Right?
That's another option, yeah.
And here, if user ID if user ID equals
is my user ID, exclude
me.id return true.
Yeah.
Because it's not a loop, so we don't continue, so
exactly.
Don't delete me. It's like that old Red Hot Chili Peppers song. I don't think it was called Don't Delete Me, but it was close. So we can take that filter out, because that filter probably wasn't really helping much anyway. I can't believe you can't NE on one of these things. That's crazy.
Graph team, if you're listening, that's for you.
The ID property can only be used with the equals operator. What's the equals mat? Oh, there's equals match, I'm guessing. Okay, whatever. Okay. Now, file cache. We're going to have to do a small file cache for MSAL.
Are you doing it now?
No, you're right. We need to just see if it works. Everybody just have to watch me log in again. Get our breakpoints out of here. And we only have 100 seconds to do it.
100 seconds it's 1 minute and 40, so you got plenty of time.
That's true. That would be pretty boring, wouldn't it? Okay. So I've gotten me. Oh, I haven't gotten me yet because we still have to sign in. So let's get signed in. Man, it's going to be lunchtime. I got to get something to eat.
Yes.
Yes, I'm trying to sign into Tenant Deleter. I'm signed in. Great. I've got
Get all the users. Let's do this.
Okay, let's go get all of our users.
What?
Insufficient privileges to complete the operation. Interesting.
What?
Oh, because we haven't consented again.
Device code does not allow you to consent.
It does, however,
it's not dynamic.
I haven't replicated. Those permissions, because it's multi-tenant, we added it to my thing, we added it to my app registration, but since it's multi-tenant, we have to do it again. We have to wait for those permissions to replicate. The permission request to replicate. So what we'll do instead, because we can't really request a token. Well, we'll just put our scopes in here for now. I don't care. We're going to need user read write all, right? Because it's an array, so whatever. Yep. Mm-hmm. We'll just tack them on as we need them up here.
Wait. Is this not the case where we could just omit the graph thing and just use the user read write all?
We could, but I like to be explicit. But whatever, it's fine. We could also just use
for our audience. For our audience, so they know. Graph is the only one that you can omit the resource that you're
Correct.
trying to get a scope for.
Yeah, like graph, you can skip this for graph.
Yes. Everything else, no.
But any other API, you can't. So that's why I leave it in there.
Yeah, let's make it consistent, I guess.
Okay. So let's get cranking up here again. And then if this works, I'm going to go eat because I'm hungry. Okay, terminal. Downhill from here. I kind of don't want to delete this tenant now because the name is so prescient. You know what I mean?
I know.
All right, so let's go get signed in. Go to
You're in the same
login.
open mic as me with John Gallant?
I guess so, yeah.
These are the fun ones. Probably the best
good.
meeting of the month.
So now we've gotten
there you
more.
go.
We've gotten more consent. Read and write all users' full profiles. So we've gotten our new consent with our new scope, which is great. We'll go ahead and consent on behalf of my whole org, so I don't have to add. I don't have to do consent for other users, although it doesn't really matter because those other
Fancy
users
Mr.
are all gonna
Admin.
get deleted.
Fancy Mr. Admin.
Okay.
See.
Good. So we got all
There
of our
you go.
users. Great.
Lots of users.
Current batch step is 1. We got our page iterator with this whole mess. And
It says finished.
says it's
didn't
finished.
go-
So either nothing happened or everything happened, and we could never tell you why. Let's go look at our org's users, and
What?
they're all still here.
Man, I got so excited so early.
Yeah, they're all still here. So why are they all still here? Are we ever actually executing the? Yeah, we are executing the batch. Okay. So
Is it because, well, are we creating the batch iterator but it doesn't execute the iterator? Can you step into?
oh. I think you're right. I think we never actually start the page iterator. I don't think it's get all pages async. Hang on a sec. Let's go back to the doc. Yeah, you're right. We never actually started. I don't believe we ever actually started the iterator.
Yeah, so you create the iterators but you never
We created the iterator, and we never actually got to working, or we never actually set the iterator off.
There you go.
Okay. Iterate async. Cool. Am I not inside the right scope here? What's going on? I'm not. I need to be right here. There we go.
Oh,
Okay.
dude, you haven't used the Alt app? It will just move all your line up. Alt and then arrows up and down. It will move your lines up and down.
Very nice. I love it. Thank you.
Ta-da! And you can select a whole bunch of code and we'll do it for you.
Cool.
Not just line.
I like it. All right.
Learn something new today.
I'm
I'm learning from you every day. I'm here to just provide side commentary.
Downhill from here. Downhillfromhere.onmicrosoft.com. We got to next order of business will be building a cache because this is crazy. Okay. Yep. Okay. So did we get my user ID? We did. Those are different. So we're actually going to get a little work done here, which is cool. I'm just going to put a breakpoint here to see. Now, users.count. What does this give us? 2, which is good. That's our page size. So bold.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you. Now, are we ever? Yeah. So we're iterating the batch step. Cool. We probably need to read through that logic one more time, but because we are incrementing it and then checking, which I don't
We're doing the increment too early. Needs to be right after the execution, but it's fine. We'll probably miss one.
All right, let me take this breakpoint off, get rid of this, and are our users deleted? Not yet. Oh, they're getting there. At least one of them. Oh no, he came back. Oh no, it's gone again.
I think the iterator is slightly wrong.
I think so too. That's okay. So we're connected. We're authenticated. That's all good stuff.
We deleted one user friends. That's all that matters.
3 hours and
two hours
and
and a half.
user.
2.5 hours. Eventual consistency. I love it. Yeah. You saw that flashing.
No, I mean, right? So we create our request. We get our current batch step. We add our batch step. We iterate or we increment our batch step. And then we're checking to see if our batch step matches the number of users, then we want to send it.
Yeah.
Which that's correct.
But first you need to execute before you need to create you need to call line 113 before you increment the batch step.
Why? So, hang on.
Increment after mistake. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Well, but we're adding the batch step here, so we're adding the step to the batch, and then incrementing it here, and then we're saying only if the batch step equals the number of users, meaning we're not going to iterate again. At that point, then come and run this. So we're saying because we got a max batch size of 20, like the actual, like, this is the work that we need to do with a specific, over and over again, is adding these batch request steps. However, when we get to the point of when we're at the same step as the number of users we have, meaning we're not going to have another user, that's when we need to actually go and execute this.
So Bolt and Grant are agreeing with me, and they also say inside line 111, you need to reset.
That's true. We do need to do that.
Yeah. Maybe Grant, TNT, and Bolt are the same person now. I think we have the case of Spider-Man and Superman amidst our followers.
So... so that is one thing. The Gruff, the batch steps are one indexed in the request that we have to send, which is why we're one indexing, which is weird. Feels very weird, but such is life. Because it basically loads up the graph request with step :1, step 2, step 3, step 4, whatever. But after you move the increase.
So 109 will set it to 1. If you reset to 0, then line 109 will set it to 1, which is correct, isn't it?
Well, so hang on. Let me just think this through, because why would I? So okay, hang on. I got 5 users, right? So we run through this. Yeah. I'm now at batch step number 2, and this is going to say if the current batch step is 2, then okay, yeah. Sorry. You guys are all right. I'm a little slow.
Can somebody please create a very short clip of that?
Yesterday I had a very long day.
Iterator. Yeah.
Yesterday was a very long day, and I'll tell you, yesterday my confidence I was shook by the end of the day. I was like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Like, maybe this is just not that. Maybe I ought to learn an actual skill and go do something. I was feeling pretty rough yesterday. So I need to add a set of
JP Plumbing.
Just J Plumbing. It'd be even better.
Oh, there you go, even better.
I was thinking what if we were to do I saw a guy here in town had a van. He had a deck business, like building decks for people.
Decking. Okay.
But he called it Protect Your Deck. Protect your neck. It was awesome. I loved it.
And you mistype one letter, and then your internet search is going to be all over the place.
See, so really, and I also need to exit here, right? So we're going to have to exit if we
correct.
If we reach,
That's the last
reach
one.
enough. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So I just want to think this through. We want to add batches. For each one of these users, we want to add the batch to delete them.
Mm-hmm.
So I've added user 1, I've added user 2, I've added user 3.
Yep.
1, 2, 3. So we had user 1, user 2, user 3. My current batch step would be 3. If 3 equals 20, or 3 is full, like we're using 20, but if 3 is the max,
yep,
we're going to send it. If it's not, then we're going to increment, keep going. Okay, yeah, you are all right. Okay, all of you are correct. I am not. Okay, let's go try to blast these users out of here one more time. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and change this to 20. Now we need to go write a script to go and create like hundreds and thousands of users so we can test some stuff out. Okay. One more F5 here. We get this running.
3 more hours of writing a script to add the users so we can delete them. I like it.
Apparently it didn't like that. So actually, since I don't think we need to debug it now. Let's do I'm actually really curious to see how the .NET Run works. .NET Run and then downhill from here on Microsoft.com.
Yep.
Will that be enough?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see. Okay. Yeah, the whole MSAL catch and retry thing is also super annoying because you'll get this warning all the time because you don't actually do anything with the exception. I mean, you can catch and you can log it or do whatever, but since you generally don't do anything with it, it's annoying because you always get the message that you have to do something with it. I have to say I'm not a fan of that pattern. Okay. Yes, we're trying to sign in. Cool, we're signed in. We have no logging, and it says that we're done. So let's go see if our users are gone now. And users.
Bueller.
Hang on, still refreshing. Why are they still here?
Something wrong with our script. I think we need to debug more.
Yeah, we probably do. But that's it. Let's pick it up next week because I got to go eat. I'm hungry.
Yep. Thank you all for joining us. Let's rate someone. Instafluff, our friend Instafluff, is actually currently on the stream.
And you know what? I'm going to put all this in. I'll put this in GitHub. If any of you want to come and, if anybody wants to mess around with it before next week, feel free.
Exactly.
All right, it's up there. Okay, Instafluff. Let's go see our good friend Instafluff. Thanks for hanging out with us today, everybody.
Yes, thank you. Always a pleasure to have you.
And be sure to join us on Discord. Get your questions answered. Meet some cool people. Meet some fun people. And
Dimitri, please hit us on our Discord for any questions you have with regards to the Learn Live stuff. Please feel free to ask any questions there. And anything related to identity and Azure, feel free to reach out to us on Discord.
Yep.
Or email, whatever you want.
All right, is everybody ready to go to Instafluff?
Yeah, man. Instafluff rocks.
All right.
He's the dude.
All right. Well, let's go rock with him there. We will be back, I don't know, maybe next week, maybe the week after. We'll be back soon, though. We'll keep on working on this. In the interim,
indeed.
Have a fantastic weekend. Stay safe. Yeah. We'll see you soon.